Hey, today we're going to hear about two of our members who are members of the International Service Committee and some of the donations and how the money is used and how much and so forth. And first we're going to have Del DeTrey come up. And since Del's been a member since before I was born, most of us know Del pretty well, and he's on the Brazil Children's House, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what they're doing with that particular group and the donations that we're doing. So, go ahead, Del.
Well, if I can get this thing to work, that'd be great. You need some technical assistance here. You can. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
One of the International Committee's projects that our Lacey Rotary Club supports is a school in Votuporanga, Brazil. Kind of keeping with that Brazil theme, I guess, Dave. It is called the Escola Artesanal e Casa de Criança, or the Children's House. It opened in 1971 in a small building that was on the property of Dr. Walter Eleuthero Rodriguez and his wife, Anita. They saw a real need to help support their local school and their community by creating a safe place where the children could come after school to help keep them off the streets and support their learning, much like our own Boys and Girls Club. So as the need grew, so did the school. This particular picture is a group of the local government folks exchanging the property to continue their growth. How we learned about the school and the support it gave to Votuporanga was through an exchange student that we brought from Brazil named Marley Rodriguez, and that was back in 1979. Marley stayed with several of our club members, and our family was one of them. On a couple of occasions during her stay, we would have conversations about her family growing up in her town. And one of the stories she told as a young girl, her father would open up his doctor's office a couple of days a week for the people of Votuporanga, for those less fortunate and that couldn't pay for medical attention. She stated that she could remember people lining up so that her father could see them to treat their medical issues at no cost or whatever they could pay. He decided then that he knew what he needed to do to support the people of his community, and that is how the school started. How we became more involved in it, our family my mom and dad went over to Brazil with my sister Denise, who attended North Thurston High School with Marley. And there they met Marley's mom and many of their other family members. The lady in the blue dress is Marley's mom. Marley's father had passed away several years prior to her visit, but his legacy had lived on. You can see the school's a little larger in this picture than the previous one. His wife Anita had become the director of the school, and they were very proud of what they had accomplished and were excited to share what they were doing at the school and how it worked for the kids and the parents. There are many things that are similar to our Boys and Girls Club as this school is over there, and yet there are many differences. As an example, every day when the children come to the school in the morning, they exchange their home clothes for their uniform, and they're given a small meal or snack, and then they go off to school. And when they come back, they exchange their uniform for their clean clothes, their washed clothes. They have volunteers that do that. And as an let's see. And then when they arrive from school, they also have the option to be involved with tutoring for math and reading, and they also work on their computer skills, which you can see these computer monitors are a little bit old, but that's what they were dealing with. And that's just to help further their education. They also have athletic activities for children from ages 6 through 12, such as soccer and gymnastics and what they call Olympic judo. I think Marley was here a couple of years ago. She explained some of the things that they were doing. Today our funds help support the maintenance and the repairs that are needed on the building and grounds to maintain the safety and the well-being of these children. And as you can see, the needs are many. And with the help of the volunteers in the local Botaparanga Rotary Club, of which Marley's sister Rosalie was secretary recently, they are also helping provide some of the funding to take care of the maintenance. Our US dollars go a long way, though, to take care of these costly repairs. And as you can see, there are a lot of roof repairs that are needed, mold abatement, and of course sealing and painting of both the walls and the roof areas, and then the tile damage and such there. So this is why we're supporting the Escola Arsenal de Casa de Crianca as another extension of our Lacey Rotary. Thank you.
We're also going to hear from one of our newer members, and I've got a little more information about her because she's new and a lot of us aren't real familiar with her. It's Yasmin Alptikan. I'll tell you briefly about her and then she'll give her presentation. She's a Turkish American born and raised in Istanbul, Turkey. She's been an educator with more than 25 years of academic experience both in the United States and abroad. She earned her doctorate in education policy and leadership at Ohio State. And she's going to talk to us about Save the Children in her area of the community service. She joined Rotary in 2014, became an active member in the International Committee. She's going to talk about Save the Children organization, and one of the places the International Committee sends money, just like Dell was talking about. She's connected to the non-governmental organization through her son, who she'll talk about. Matter of fact, we're going to hear from him, who is the director of the office in Turkey. So let's hear what's going on in Turkey and what we're doing as the International Committee to help out over there.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. And before we dive into a very dire subject here, I'd like to begin on a lighter note. No contest with girls here, but I'll try. The story is told of a woman walking along the beach when she stumbled upon a genie's lamp. She picked it up and rubbed it, and lo and behold, a genie appeared. The amazed woman soon came back to her senses and asked if she got 3 wishes. The genie said, "Nope, due to inflation, constant downsizing, fierce global competition, and low wages in third world countries, I can only grant you 1 wish. So what will it be?" The woman didn't hesitate. She said, "I want peace in the Middle East. See this map? I want these countries to stop fighting with one another." The genie looked at the map and exclaimed, Godsey, lady. These countries have been at war for thousands of years. I'm out of shape after being in a bottle for centuries. I'm good, but not that good. I don't think it can be done. Make another wish." The woman thought for a minute and said, "Well, I've never been able to find the right man. You know, one that's considerate and fun and likes to cook and helps with the house cleaning, is good in bed and gets along with my family, doesn't watch sports all the time, and is faithful. That's what I wish for, a good mate." The genie let out a long sigh, shook his head and said, "Let me see that map again." Okay. Well, this is Middle East, and you see Turkey there, and Syria. And what we will be talking about, Save the Children organization that had an office in Turkey just recently, and that office is headed by my son, Bishop Özertem. And I received all this information that I'm going to be sharing with you through his office, and let's see how we do. Oops. And the office is located in a province called Hatay. And before we go on with what they have regarding their office, I have this question here. Do you have a 5-year-old child or a grandchild?
Yes.
How many of you? And next month marks the 5th anniversary of the crisis in Syria. It's been that long. And when you look at the world map, and when you look at all these countries, you see where Turkey is and where Syria is, where the United States is.
Yes, sir. Could you speak into the mic?
Oh, okay, sorry. All right. And this is Turkey and Syria next to one another. And Turkey has the longest border with Syria among other neighbors. In those 5 years, over 250,000 people killed. Millions of Syrians have been forced to flee their homes and seek a safe haven from the violence. Over 4.5 million Syrians have become refugees in neighboring countries, with Turkey alone hosting 2.7 million. And here are the places that most of those refugees find some refuge. And Istanbul is the one that has the most. And Hatay area, to the south of Turkey, is where this office is located and where most refugees end up. Again, the Hatay province I'm talking about is located very close to Syrian border. Over half of all Syrian refugees are under the age of 18. And schools have been targeted and destroyed through airstrikes. This picture is taken by the staff of the Save the Children organization. And it may seem hard to see any hope in the eyes of those kids. And here is an example. I'd like to introduce Layla. Layla is a given name to protect her identity and privacy. And she is 16 years old right now and fled ISIS-held territory. And she's been denied education for an entire year. And she's traveled almost 280 miles to reach safety in Turkey. And Save the Children staff met Layla and Khaled later in eastern Syria and made after the journey. And the organization met with her family, an extended family, in their cramped flat in Hatay in January. Here is the other family members. And 11 children and 4 adults somehow survive on just $300 every month. What left Save the Children staff in awe of the family was that every single child was attending school. Many families, finding it very hard to make ends meet, will resort to sending their children to work as a tea boy, apprentice in a shop, or paper collector, just to name a few professions where children are seen widely. This family had no money to pay for heating or sit indoors in their coats, and they sit indoors in their coats and scarves. But they used what little money they had to provide their children with an education. To save money, Layla walks to school. And she's the oldest and very protective of her younger brother and cousins. They walk to school. And she loves math, physics, and chemistry. She told Save the Children staff how nervous she was when she began attending one of the several Save the Children supported schools in Hatay. She was nervous because she had not been in education, she hadn't had any education for a year and felt left behind. She was unhappy to be academically behind others. When she was asked what she wants to be in the future, she confidently told the Save Children staff that she wanted to be a pharmacist. If that doesn't work, then a doctor. If that does not work out, an engineer. And in Turkey, she has the opportunity to fulfill her ambition. Save the Children supports 10 schools for Syrians from 1st through the 12th grade. And Layla is just one of those cases. There are many of them. And the money you've raised that we've sent from here as our support will mean that Layla will no longer have to walk to school. The money will provide children like Layla education materials. The money I've raised will help continue Save the Children's work in providing educations to Syrians in Turkey. And Layla is a glimmering hope for the future of Syria. Despite having spent for her formative years being exposed to horrors of war, Layla was just 11 years old when the crisis started. Now she's a testament to the resilience of children and human spirit. In Turkey, there are tens of thousands of Syrian children like her. Your support to Save the Children allows for that hope to grow and flourish, says the Save the Children organization staff. And thank you.
Let's see if they have questions for you or for Del.
Yeah.
Come on back up, Del. Questions?
Yes.
How is the Turkish government financing all these people or taking care of these people?
How is the Turkish government financing? Okay, actually, my son happens to be on the phone right now. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. And he can answer you firsthand this question. Have you heard the question?
That's using a lifeline.
I just caught Turkish government. I didn't hear the rest.
Okay. How does the Turkish government finance the Syrian refugees?
That's actually a great question. And before I do anything, I just want to say, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for dedicating your time to listen, not only to my mother, but to the story of Layla. You know, the financing so far, for the past 5 years, the Turkish government has spent over $6 billion, that's billion with a B, on supporting refugees in Turkey. But that money has only gone to camps. So there are over 2.5 million refugees in Turkey today, but only 250,000 of them are able to find shelter in camps, so about 10%. The remaining 90% are in urban areas, what we call non-camp refugees or urban refugees. And they're largely left to fend for themselves. So the $6 billion that's been spent on the refugee response has only met 10% of need. So that gives you a sense, I hope, of the scale of the need in Turkey. And just to also put something else in context, 2.7 million people, that's across Turkey. But in Hatay alone, we have over 370,000 Syrians in one province. That's more Syrians than have traveled to Europe. All the hoopla you've been hearing about the migration crisis, the refugee crisis, people drowning in the Mediterranean, people drowning in the Aegean, all those pictures of boats you may have seen on the news, that is a fraction of what one tiny province needed, and yet it's really sustained by the individual contributions of individuals and groups like yourselves. So on behalf of Save the Children, we'd really like to extend our great appreciation to the Rotary of Seattle. Really, none of the work that we do would be possible without the contribution of you and people like you, so thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Actually, I had a small interview done by BBC with my son. If you'd like to see it, it's only 2 minutes. Can we share that real quick? I was going to show it at the beginning, but somehow I got, okay, very quickly. That's my son.
Save the Children's Turkey Program Director, that's of course one of the organisations providing assistance on the ground to Syria.
You can hear it?
Welcome to Impact. We are hearing these reports that there could be many more refugees heading towards Syria's border with Turkey. Are you going to be able to cope with another influx?
Thanks, Philippa. You know, this is not, unfortunately, the first influx that we've seen, and it may not be the last. We're receiving the same reports as you that anywhere from 15 to 70,000 people may be moving toward Turkey. It's important to remember, though, that once they arrive, their needs don't just last for 1 week. They have long-term needs. Children and families, particularly, are in need of long-term prospects. We need to be able to provide education and immediate psychological care in partnership with local authorities, and that's a really critical part of the response that Save the Children and other organizations are playing on the ground.
Yeah, how difficult is it to coordinate? Because there's NGOs like yourself and the Turkish government have to work together to try to assimilate them.
Well, I don't think it's assimilation, it's more adaptation, really. AFAD, the government's lead coordinating agency for the Syrian crisis, has really stepped up and played a critical role in ensuring that we're avoiding duplication, overlap between different international organizations, local organizations, government authorities. Turkey is not a crisis-consumed country. It's crisis-affected. And in order to cope with what we're seeing, we really need the international community to step in and support both the government of Turkey as well as organizations on the ground.
You are obviously already sensitive to the pressures on the Turks themselves. There's a reasonably high unemployment rate there, for example, 1 in 10 out of work in Turkey, and yet there's a need, as you're saying, to provide jobs for refugees.
That's correct. And just recently, the government has passed a new circular that does allow Syrians to apply for work permits in Turkey, and we view this as a very positive step.
Mr. Ashiko Rusutan, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
May I ask Bill a question?
Yes?
So, you're doing maintenance on the school. Do you have to worry about, because this has been over time, worry about like lead paint change-outs or asbestos or any kind of environmental?
No, the government has been doing their own inspections on this, and I want to say it's been close to about 8 years ago, they came through and they made them upgrade to a fire sprinkler system. They had to also put in a water tower, and so as part of that upgrade, they also did inspections on the electrical, the paints, and all of those types of things too. So it's just good maintenance, yeah.
Thank you. And
Aaron?
I just wanted to know, how much have we in the past supported each of these projects, and what do we have as a commitment for these projects for the next year?
I can tell you we've supported the school in Brazil for years, and it's varied from year to year. I don't know what the current commitment is, though.
It was 2,000.
Was 2,000. And the Save the Children is a recent addition. A year ago, I think, was the first time.
Correct.
And do
It's
we,
been 2,000 so far.
2,000 so far
For 2014 and 2015.
for a 2-year period.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I had Yasmin's son, Isaac, was here about a year ago.
Right.
And she made a point of bringing him by my office. I had a chance to meet him. He's a very impressive young man, as you can tell from the video. So, thank you, both of you. And as is our custom, we have books to donate on your behalf. So I'd like you to sign these. One is Donde viven los monstruos, and the other one is Say Hola to Spanish. And the problem is that neither country speaks Spanish, but that's okay. Greg,